Okay, so I will go. Okay, thank you very much for joining tonight. Let's start quickly with the contest, which ones are forecasted for this year. And District 109, there will be 4 contests chosen by the district: the free in English, international speech contest, table topic contest, and evaluation contest, and an additional one that it is a German speech contest. Areas and divisions can maybe choose an additional English contest because 4 is the maximum number of contests for English in areas and divisions, and they can add also 3 non-English contests because again 4 is the maximum number for not English contests. Of course, this contest event, they will not continue after the division level. This is the usual procedure. So contests start at the club level, usually are between December and February, depends on each club. Then they proceed through the area contest, February, March, division contest afterwards. And the final one for District 109 is the district conference that will be in Cania, Crete. If you haven't done it, register, because it will be a great event in a Greek island. So it's something that will be, I think, worth it. We stop for at district level, then we will be international speech, the World Championship, but we just look at our district for now. Let's move to the eligibility rules. Who can compete in the contest? It's very simple. All the contests, you need to be a paid member of a good standing club. So just remember your treasurer in April to pay on time the fee, because otherwise you can compete. Even if it's treasurer's fault, a contestant can't compete. For the international speech contest only, there is an additional requirement, that is to have completed 6 speeches in the old competent communication manual, or have reached level 2 in pathways. We will be back at this because they changed this requirement this year. There is one exception for clubs charter in the last year. Everyone can compete also in international speech contests for these new clubs. Of course, the clubs must have completed this charter before the area contest. Who can't compete? Of course, let's see which are the exceptions. District officers, meaning division director, district director, program quality, director, club growth, and so on. A current district officer can't compete, and also candidates that are campaigning for elected positions. Now there is a call for the new district officer positions for the next years, and people who want to run for the division or other positions that are voted in the district conference can't compete in the contest. If you want to candidate in for positions that are appointed, like area director or, for example, finance manager, you can compete for, of course, area director for next year. Current area directors cannot compete. President of education sessions, contest chair, contest toastmaster, chief judge, and they added also, we will see also this one later, event committee chairs. To sum up, is all the visible role during a contest. So if there is an event, for example, a division contest, you can't compete and have an education, or you can't compete and present another contest. So The principle here is that a contestant should be visible only when he or she is competing. So keep in mind also this one. And of course, if you are a voting judge or a tie-breaking judge in a contest type, and you are competing in the same contest, you can't do it, you have to choose. For example, you are competing at area level for the international speech contest, and you win the area contest, and you go to a different area contest. You can't be a judge in this area contest in the international speech contest, because of course you are a kind of you are competing against people you will judge. Be careful, because if a disqualification can be also determined afterwards, so even after the club contest, if the person in charge of the district conference contest notice that someone wasn't done properly at club level or at area level, you are disqualified even if you move through this level. So disqualification can be also after the contest. The winners for contests are usually there are awards for the three best contestants with a specific award, and the first one can go to the upper level. In some cases, for areas that are 4 assigned clubs or fewer, or divisions that are 4 areas assigned or fewer, districts can decide to admit 2 contestants per club or per area. This is a district decision only, so you have to, before promoting that, if your area or division is in one of these cases, you have to wait for a district official district communication, and that applies to all the division and all the clubs in the district. So let's wait for the official communication from the district. Additional curiosities about the contest and things taken from the rule book. Of course, if someone is unable to participate at the upper level, the highest placed can advance to that level. And other things related to club contests are that a club is not obliged to do all the contests. A club can also avoid all the contests at all, because it's stated that a contest can choose its representative for the area by whatever means. But if a club holds a contest, then the results will be final, and they should apply the rules in the rule book. So what does it mean? So if a club holds a contest just with one participant, only that participant can go to the area level and no one else. Otherwise, if a club avoids to have a contest with 1 or 2 participants, every paid member of that club can go to the area contest, of course chosen by the club itself. This applies only at club level, because at area, division, and afterwards at the district contest, all the contests must be held, even when there is 1 participant, because even that one can be disqualified if he or she goes overtime or he doesn't meet the eligibility and originality requirements. I hope so far it's clear. I don't know if you have any quick questions about this general information of the contest. Otherwise, we can go on.
Maybe I just, let's say, intervene, is when you mentioned that there should be a communication from the district about giving the opportunity sometimes to choose candidates to go to the next level in certain cases. So the idea is that we will discuss it with all district officer, area directors, and division directors of the district officer training in Turin in a couple of weeks, and then we will communicate to everybody.
Yeah, I see the iteration and individual judge and same court in another club if the two clubs are in different areas. And at club level, yes, because the rules applies only from area level. So at club level, you can compete and be a judge. Because if we come back, it's here beyond the club level. So the rule book states about beyond the club level. So you can be a judge and compete in the same contest at club level. So this is what the rule book says. Of course, when you are a judge, you sign kind of there is a special form that you, of course, declare that you will judge in appropriate and natural way. No, most of the rules applies after the club contest generally. So let's move on to the news of the rule book of this year, 2020. Some changes. They, I don't know why, but they remove all the instances of the word shall and shall not, of course. Maybe they didn't like it anymore. And now, instead of shall, you find must, can, are, is, must, all this. I think these are more clear to everyone in the world, while shall is considered outdated in the opinion of these new words in the rule book. And afterwards, we can see that a rule that I mentioned before also being a chief judge in the same contest type was forbidden. Now, if you are competing in a contest, you can be a chief judge in the same contest type in a different area or division. That it means the reason is because chief judge doesn't vote unless he stays breaking judge, but in this case you can't be. So this is something that has been changed from last year. A second rule is about protests. It's important to notice that only judges and contestants can move a protest. And so if you notice something strange in the process of the contest and something for you is not regular, tell a contest or a judge. Judges should be anonymous, so tell a contest. But it has been stated clearly this time that contest chair and chief judge should not consider protests for members of the audience. So be aware of that. Let's move to this one. The event committee chairs are not allowed to compete. In the past, if you, for example, were a registration chair for the district conference or a finance chair, you were able also to compete in that contest. it was not used to, because you had visibility of that, but it wasn't clearly forbidden. This year, they stated that if you are a chair for something in an event, a division, area, or district conferences, you can't compete at that event. So, for example, the registration chair for the district contest can compete until the division contest and then stop there. Another rule that has been changed is the eligibility rules that we have seen before. A part of the 6 speeches that is the same from the old competent communicator manual. Last year it was that you must have completed 2 levels in pathways. This year they changed it in you must have earned certificates of completion in levels 1 and 2 of any path. This is not the same thing because according to last year, you could have completed level 1 of pathways in 2 different paths, and you were eligible to be a contestant for international speech contest or to be a judge in the area contest. Now, of course, I think they noticed this kind of misunderstanding and they change it in the rulebook that you need to have the certificate of level 2 in pathways in any path. So also the VP should submit your last speech of level 2 in order to have the eligibility rule to be able to compete in the international speech contest. Be aware of that, of course. The same applies to be a chief judge, voting judge, or tie-breaking judge. It's the same thing. Now you need the level 2 of any path in pathways. From area level, this one we will come back about it. That judges must have level 2 in or 6 speeches in the competent communicator manual. From area level. At club level, any paid member can be a judge. And also they change this one, the last one, 3 counters for each contest. Now maybe they noticed that 3 counters were too much. It was difficult to find them. So now 2 counters must be appointed for each contest. So you can save 1 counter. Unless in practical at club level. At club level, we will see later all the number of judges, counters, and timers are less in practical. So if you can't find 2 counters, even 1 is fine at club level. So let's move after these changes in the rule book that are not major changes this year, but it's good to keep in mind. Let's move to the contest structure. So how is structure a contest? Can we start from the validation criteria for the contest? You have a time frame that must be respected. And originality is the second criteria. So speech, evaluation, table topic must always be original, and they must be within the time frames that we will see also later. So 4 minutes and 30 seconds for speeches and 30 seconds for maximum time. Please notice that no signal will be shown to the contestants to let them know that they are under the minimum time or over the maximum time. So after 7 minutes or 3 minutes for evaluation on 2 minutes for table topics, they will see the red card, and then that red card will stay forever until they will finish the contest. but we will see later for the timer. This is an example of the structure of a contest. Contests, for the people who haven't seen so far, are very rigid in some way, because they are built in a way that they must guarantee to each contestant the exact same introduction. So contest chair starts introducing the rules, the contest, and asking, of course, the chief judge if everyone is briefed. Then what is important here, that contestants are introduced with only name and title of the speech and without any further information. And also clapping, the way are introduced. There is no specific rules for clapping. The important thing for contest chairs is that everyone is introduced in the same way, of course. Then there will be, in this case is the speech contest, the speech, and then you will have 1 minute for each judge to complete the evaluation. Afterwards, all the contestants, this will be repeated for the contestant, and then at the end, this is something that sometimes creates some people are not aware of that. Contest chair gives 2 minutes to finish the evaluation to all the judges and to ask the counters to go and collect their ballots to them. But 2 minutes is a kind of variable time frame. You must allow judges to finish their evaluation, and you have to wait until the last judges have finished and the counters and the chief judge are outside the club room, the contest room. It can take also 5-7 minutes, it doesn't matter. You have just to wait in silence for that, because it's very important that judges have time to complete their ballots. Of course, it's good to say 2 minutes, not just to remind them not to take all the time of the day, of course. And then after the ballot counters are outside, the contest chair can deliver the certificate of participation to all contestants. Again, the certificate of participation should go to everyone. Then people who are competing in other contests during the day or the event will not be interviewed. They should receive the participation of the certificate of participation, but then they have to be silent and to go back to the audience. Others can be interviewed if the contest chair wants. The same, it's almost the same for evaluation contest. I think maybe I will move quickly here. It's just that at the beginning you have a test speaker that delivers the speech that will be evaluated by contestants. After the test speaker, the sergeant at arms escort all the contestants outside the room, and then they will have 5 minutes to write their evaluation in a provided contestant notes sheet. And during that 5 minutes, the contest chair can entertain the audience as well as he or she means. Then, in the end, after these 5 minutes, this here is very important, the role of sergeant at arms, because no further time should be allowed to contestants. So the sergeant at arms should take all the evaluation contestant notes sheets from the contestants and give to the ones who have to give the evaluation. So first the evaluator should go inside with the contestant notes, while the others can wait outside without anything. So the suffragans must keep their notes while the others are waiting. And for this is at the end, it's exactly the same as before. Table topics, what's the difference is that the contestants go out at the beginning, except the first one, and then the contest chair introduce all the contestants, in this case telling name and table topic. One thing about the table topic that is also written in the rule book, it should be very simple, of a general nature, and because the table topic chosen must be read as this, and the same must be read the same at the same type as for all the contestants. So what is suggested to all the people is to choose a table topic that is usually under 10 words, a very simple one of general nature, of course, because it's not required a detailed knowledge and other opinions or conclusions. So keep it simple and be aware that should be the same, with exactly the same words for each contestant. Then at the end, it's the same for the contest. We have to wait for judges to finish and so on. We can move. So I don't know if you have any questions about the structure. It's something very difficult to explain in my opinion, but you have to see one contest to really understand that. It's very formal from my point of view. Otherwise, we can maybe move to my last part, that are contest roles. So maybe we can talk about roles in depth to see what are the roles and what are their duties. Okay, so contest roles official. So you will have this is the full list of contest roles. One contest chair, one chief judge, of course. These are mandatory for all the contests. Judges, you need 5 of them at club and area level and 7 of them at division and district level. Be aware that at club level it's written unless in practical. So even if you find 3 or 4, the contest is okay. Try to maybe invite people from other clubs. It's always a good way to promote the contest and to have a better evaluation of all the contestants. There is a tie-breaking judge. This is a secret one. Can be the chief judge himself if, of course, is not competing in the same contest in another area. There are then the additional 3 roles that are the Sagittarians, that are people who have to assure that nobody enter in the room and nobody exit in the room while a contestant of any contest is speaking. So this is they should stay close to the doors in order to be aware of that. And then they have an active role for evaluation and table topics that we will see later. So we need usually 2 of them. At least 2 timers. Timers are very, very important in a contest because they should be visible. And contestants, of course, they calibrate their speech or their evaluation on the time, and even seconds can make the difference. So usually try to appoint at least one expert member as timer with maybe one less expert, because in my opinion it's the most important role in a contest. And counters, now we have seen that they should be at least 2 and not 3 at area and division level. 3 remains for district level, of course. Club level, as I said before, these numbers are applied unless impractical. So try to get this number of roles. If you can't, the contest is okay, but of course the aim of holding a contest at club level is to have it in a proper way. My suggestion is, if you can't do it, ask for help, or if you have only 1 or 2 contestants, simply avoid and tell them to go to the area. And instead of holding a contest, you can just let the contestant try the speech. So not saying that it's a contest, it can be just a session of feedback, or what you will like to call it. So contest chair, let's see very quickly some things about contest chair. Before the contest chair should provide 2 certificates to the speakers. One is that the speakers should be eligible and they should provide an original speech, and the profile that is for the interviews. So only speakers that signs at least the first certification can compete, and this is the contest chair task to be done. Then during the contest, he should welcome the speakers and brief them about the rules, about the speaking area, and the contest chair should also draw the speaking position, and he or she should write somewhere in some place visible the names of the contestants with the orders, in a way that is clear for the judges, that should take note of all contestants' names. Then he or she should do an introduction, informs about rules of timing. My suggestion here is to have a script. There are online, you can find it easily, with all the things you have to say, because otherwise it's better to read something than forget other things, because it's important that everyone in the audience know what is going on. It's important also that each contest speaker doesn't have any remarks, so don't say any comments, anything, just say name and title of the speech, or name and table topic and so on, but avoid everything else, because you have to be fair, you have to be neutral. And the contest chair is the person leading the contest. So you ask voting judges to complete their ballots after each speech or evaluation or table topic. And then in the end, it's the person that interviews the contest, announce winners, announce also times disqualifications. In case of times disqualifications, contest chair doesn't have to say names of the person who are disqualified. At the end, he provides all the contestants the relative certificate of participation and the first, second, and third place certificates. Since last year, even contests with 3 people are even in contests with only 3 people, 3 places are provided. So you will know also the last one, that will be the 3rd place. Chief judge, as we have seen before, from at club level can be a paid member, should be only a paid member. Anyone, any member of that club or another club can be a chief judge. From area level, he or she should have the 6 speeches in the competent communication or the 2nd level of pathways. At division and district level, a judge can be a member of any club in which a contestant is a member. So it's good for the person in charge of contests at division and district to check all the clubs where contestants belong. Is the person that has to choose the counters, judges, timers, and to brief them, remind them rules and what they have to do. Is the person that also knows the secret time-breaking judge. Is also responsible of the protests addressed by contestants or other judges. And then is the one that collects the time record sheet, so he has to go to the timers once a contest is finished to take this sheet and to see if there are disqualifications, and also he or she should take care of the tie-breaking judge. But let's see, these are the documents of the chief judge, so he or she should fill the notification of who is the winner and the form with all the results. And let's move to the judges, but I think also Lorenzo will speak about them. They should have the same eligibility criteria as the chief judge, so club members at club level everyone, and after area 6 speeches of 2 levels of pathways. They have to just choose 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place and remind to sign their ballots. This will be, you will see afterwards with Lorenzo. So let's move on quickly here. Just one thing, tie-breaking judge is the judge is considered only when there is a tie, so can be not useful at all. In that case, is secret to everyone except the chief judge. It can be the chief judge himself or herself. He or she, what is the difference? That he or she should rank all the contestants instead of choosing the first 3. So if you have 9 contestants, you should rank all the 9 contestants. And based on this ranking, all the ties will be decided. Of course, you will see which person will move to an upper position. These are the certificates for the tie-breaking judge. Let's move to the timers. It's, as I said before, for me, it's the most important role in a contest. What is important for a timer? That they are very close to the contestant, very visible to the contestants. Usually it's the first row of the room where the timers are seated, and they will have 3 red cards that we will see later. 2 things should be considered for timers. They should not be visible to judges, because judges should not consider time in their voting, and they will have to be able to start timing at the first signal of the contestant. This can be verbal or not verbal, because the contestant can go on the stage and wait silently for some seconds, and this should not be counted in the time. The time should start if a contestant maybe make some gestures to the audience, or start saying something, even a sound. It's written that it should be communication, definite communication with the audience. These are the timing, very strict. It's important to show not to show anything before the 5 minutes for speeches, 1 minute for table topics, and 2 minutes for evaluation. And then to be precise, to show the green in the specific time frame, the yellow in the specific time frame, and the red at the end, because contestants, while they prepare their speeches, they calibrate their speeches or evaluation at each second. So you need the persons covering this role that are very precise, and be aware that can influence the performance of contestants. It's also written in the rulebook that if there are if something happens to timers, if something is not working properly, contestants are allowed to speak 30 seconds more than the time allowed. But hopefully, I never seen it, but I read that happened. This is the time record sheet that they should fill in and give to the chief judge. Let's move to the last two roles. Ballot counters are the people that they have to collect all the ballots when the last contestant has finished. So they are driven by the chief judge. So they follow him or the chief judge to a different room and they do the calculation. So they are just to go to each judge to collect the ballot. They have to remember to score 3 points for the first place ranking, 2 points for the second place ranking, and 1 point for the third place ranking. Please be aware with the chief judge that all the ballots from the judges should be signed, otherwise they are not valid. So remember the judges to sign. And this is the tally sheet that they should fill with the chief judge. Here you are followed by the chief judge, so don't be afraid to take this role. It's very nice also to see people how they vote or so on. Then the last one is are the sagittatams, so are the people that assure that nobody leaves or enters the contest room. During the evaluation contest, as I said before, they keep the notes from the contestants and they give back to them when they are introduced to present the evaluation, so one by one. And during the table topic contest, of course, they should stay outside with the contestant, assuring that they don't hear the table topic, because contestants in this contest, they must know the table topic when they are called on the stage, because it's the same for everyone. So if you know it before the others, of course, you have a great advantage. You can think about it. If you want to know everything about contest, of course, the rule book is the official source of all the rules. Even if I say something wrong about it, the rule book is written differently. Of course, the rule book is always right, so follow all the words from the rule book. If you have any doubts, of course, reach out to your area director, division director, or program quality director. There is also for area division director this training that you can find online, that is about conducting quality speech contest. And that's, I think, it's a brief, of course, contests are more complicated than this is a kind of a brief introduction or about what are contests. And but of course you have to try it, because it's very difficult to experience them without even seeing them. So if you have any final questions, I can maybe exit now.
So if you have questions, let's say you can ask directly or write in the chat.
Yeah, then you will have also time during all these months. If you have any doubts, of course, ask. But it's always useful to read also rules, because you can learn lots of things. Otherwise, you can maybe move to your part.
Yes.
It's more about the judging. Yeah.
Exactly. So I've prepared a few slides about, let's say, especially the role of the judges. We don't have a lot of time, but I want to spend just a few minutes about it, because I think is an important part that sometimes is not so well, let's say, developed. And the idea is that there is a training also where about for judges that you can use. And what I've noticed that judges many times in clubs, they don't have really a good preparation, and they don't know their roles. And it's very important because, to be honest, if we don't have good judges, even the results were a bit skewed, and they have an important responsibility, judges. Here are things that the judges should be: accurate, fair, trustworthy, knowledgeable, and good listeners. That's a general idea that you can, if you're managing a contest, you can stress to the judges when you choose them. I just go fast because of the time, but let's say what's happening that many times judges, they are not objective. And why? There are few reasons that is important that you underline to judges. For example, sometimes they take in consideration speaker position. So if a good speaker comes after a not good speaker, there is a kind of bias. There is another effect that is called champion for the underdog. Sometimes even like a person, we like the person maybe is not the favorite one. And maybe we just give some extra points because it has new ones, whatever. This is another problem. There is another effect, it's called halo effect. It means that you can imagine if a very experienced guy is very good in doing workshop, for example, and now he goes to the speech contest, everybody knows he's a good in workshops. Sometimes they say, then they think he's very good even in speeches, and he gets some extra points. Or while reverse halo effects. It means when you feel a person is not good in something, then you say he will not even be good in speeches or in contests, and you give less points, and so on. Okay, so there are all these things that are psychological normals, but it's important you underline to judges that they need to pay attention not to be biased by these effects. Okay, and how do you do in order to be as much as objective as you can? You know, there are the form that is to be used, but I've seen many judges at the end, they don't know how to use it, or they don't use it properly. And it's very relevant that everybody of us is using, let's say, the part properly, the form, the first part that is about the points and the scoring, and the second part where they need to put the, let's say, the first, second, and third, sign, give the name, and only deliver this part of the ballot counter. And some of the normal problems, they don't sign the form, and so their vote they cannot be used, or they don't use the judging criteria above to be objective. Some suggestion how to use the form. So at least the manual is saying you need to write the name of contestant starting from the right, so not on the left, but like position 10, 9, and 8, and so on. So you write, for example, Pippo, Pluto, and Mimi. Second part, you first assess people when he is speaking, and then you fold the page so you cannot see what you have done given to people. Okay, so we fold the page so you're not biased by yourself, and then at the end, so you go on like that, and at the end you make a final check and sum the points. So there is even a certain way how you use the form suggested by Toastmaster, starting from the right, covering when you did a vote, then cover it, and at the end do this final sum and judges. And then remember to sign the form, like here. How to use the forms is about taking notes, and if there is even a sequence. First, you need to vote by category and then with points. And it's very important from a logical perspective. And what I mean sequence. So it means that you have judging criteria, contents, and delivery and language, in this case for speech contest. And you have this suggested point value. And you see there is written excellent, very good, good, and fair. So the idea is first, in your mind, you need to think about was excellent, very good, good, or fair. Okay, you choose the category, and then you give the points. So it gives you a better way of using it. And of course, inside the content, then is even the categories that I don't have time to go through. But of course, you know, on the back of the form is explain what does it mean. And again, it's important when you brief the judges, you explain to them what is a speech development affecting speech values, maximum 50 points, the same for delivery B, and the language, that you get 20 points. So in interest of time, I just summarize what I wanted to say, so that briefing of the judges is very important to keep objectivity. You need to train them, you need to explain them what kind of bias they can have when they judge, and you need to explain them that the form has to be used in a certain way, and using these, let's say, as well, categories and points, because it increases objectivities, and you don't want the judges just, let's say, to vote by what they like, okay? Because as I said, they have a very important responsibility towards, let's say, the contestants, that they are preparing very hard. So please spend some time as well to, let's say, train the judges. This is in a super summary what I wanted to say about judges. Do you have any question here? And try to stop